Hi, everybody, and welcome to the show. Today, John and I are both sitting down to talk with Cindy. Cindy, please introduce yourself and tell us who you are and your swim story and where you are today.
Thank you very much. My name is Cindy Dial. I am from Akron Firestone High School and Firestone Akron Swim Team. That is our club team. I've been doing this for, a million years, but actually closer to 40 years. Started out young age. I was one of the kids that, my dad threw me in the water and I just took to the water, and it seemed to be always my happy place. I've got 3 older brothers and I'm the only swimmer of the family. So moving from South Carolina up here to Ohio, I started in high school, did high school swimming, age group swimming. But when I was in high school and started lifeguarding, I kind of found my niche. I loved coaching, summer coaching. I was doing that, and there was just something about it that I just loved the challenge. I liked working with the kids. I loved the teaching aspect of it. After high school, started into college, and I kept on coaching. I started coaching with Mark Pruis at Glen Oak High School, and we started our own club team there. After that, I took my first head coaching position job at Louisville YMCA, spent 9 years there as a YMCA and high school coach. And then very thankful that Tim Lewarchick hired me up here at Akron Firestone. I was 5 years his assistant, and then took over from there as head coach.
Tim, I've talked to Tim about this before, and he was, you actually have my old job, right? and then Tim's job, and then yours. And I could tell you this, that I think as much as I feel like Tim was one of the best hires I ever made in my life, I'll also go with the other person on here too, which is Tori, right? One of the best hires and I've had some amazing, been very fortunate about that. But I think he would say the exact same thing about hiring you, because you came actually and worked a little bit with fluid mechanics at some camps and things like that, and you are absolutely phenomenal. So we're all fortunate and really, really excited to whenever we can work with you. Let me just ask you a little bit, since we've had that same position, things like this, and we know, it's a very intense job at sometimes there. What do you love so much about coaching?
I think it's the everyday challenge, that it's never the same, that there's always going to be different things thrown at you from different angles. It might be something from the kids. It might be something from a parent. It might be something from a staff member. I just love the daily challenge of not knowing what I'm walking into. I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but I love the challenge.
Got it. And then what are some of the highlights of your swimming career and swimming and coaching career?
I think, I knew at a young age that I wanted to coach and wanted to jump right into it. So I think just, there's been various things that have happened, not only the successes through high school, but through USA Swimming, just with, different kids watching kids and challenging kids to get to the next level, not only in the high school level to get from, districts to the state meet to state champion. For USA Swimming, whether we're going from sectionals to nationals to getting our first Olympic trial cut. So there's been so many good successes through the years, but I think the best successes is just when the kids come back and you see what a good person they've become. Mm-hmm. So, it's great what we do in the water, but I think what we challenge them to do and challenge them to be really sets them up for a lifetime.
Yeah, it's really right. It being a part and a member of this community, swimming community, whether you're the fastest swimmer, the slowest swimmer, or anywhere in between, whether you're a parent, right? Everybody is getting tremendous benefits as they go along. And I think the longer you're in it, the more benefit you get. Did you notice that as well, Tori, in your swimming career? Because you were a college swimmer as well.
Absolutely. I think it's one of those sports that it definitely builds over time. And as long as you are in it and continuing to train and come back to practice every day and the next seasons and everything, it builds on top of it's like a snowball effect. And by the time you're done with it, because you're never done with swimming,
Right.
you feel like you've lived a lifetime in a very short period of time because there's just so much that happens.
It's almost like a microcosm for life.
Mhm.
And I think it's great for parents too, because they get a chance to really see the kids in action in regards to dealing with coaches, dealing with swimmers, right? And you can guide them. And once they're in college, you have less of that opportunity to influence what's going on and helping them understand. So it's a great place to, when you lose, when you win, how you deal with grace with both. Right? It's all really important things. So what have you noticed, Cindy, as your kids have graduated and they've gone on and done? I know they've got to be doing some amazing things coming from you. Before I say that and ask you this question, one of the things that I always noticed from the short time we got to work with each other is how solid of a person you are. You're just, and I see that in Lisa Pizzuto here in our company, and it's so solid. It's amazing. And I found that with you as well. And it's just, you're always there. You're always on it. And there's no one that you could put your child with that's more responsible than Cindy and more capable to guide them in life. I just think you'll leave such a footprint on this earth. Really amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Can't thank you enough on that. Wow.
Well, it's a truth. And I think a lot of times I think my mom told me that years ago. She said, you'll never realize how much impact you have on the people you work with. And I think, just for us, I've remembered you since we worked together that short time, and the way you make people feel is amazing. And so if you can give that to the kids, which you do, everyone's enriched, the families are enriched, everyone gets a huge benefit from it. Okay, so Cindy, what are some of the benefits that you've seen that kind of carry past swimming? And you've given the kids so much. What do you see the benefits are as they progress in life?
I think the work ethic, that they're not afraid to go out there to take any job and work hard at it, get up early in the morning, whatever's asked of them, they're used to that. They don't mind giving the hard work. The time management, that's one of the biggest things that kids come back and they say, when I'm in college, when they've gotten into college, that they didn't find it hard to manage their studies and being in the pool and things like that, because they had that from day one. That they're not afraid to take criticism. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that I kind of pride myself on, and it's hard sometimes, is being brutally honest with them. I think a lot of times now that teachers and maybe even parents try to flower things up too much for the kids. And sometimes they need to know the bottom line. If you want to get from point A to point B, this is what you need to do. And this is how to get there. And there's no easy fix. There's no pill. There's no sports drink or anything like that's going to get you there. It's hard work. So, and that's just, I think, the biggest thing with when kids come back as adults that they truly appreciate.
I was talking to a phenomenal sports psychologist the other day from Europe, and he had his name is Bruce Laurie. And he's a doctor, he's amazing. And he had talked about what you're talking about right now, which is what's called toxic positivity. And I found that such an interesting, and I'm sure people have used this, I just didn't understand that term until he really cleared it up. And he says, you don't want to be Pollyannish about life. You want to be able to realize that the positive side is to understand what you're doing incorrectly, the mistakes you're making, things like that, and face them. Sometimes things aren't always rosy, and sometimes it right. And the reality of that, and that's what you deliver so well, is just a real reality look at this. This is what it's like, and then help you say, okay, now the positive thing is, what can we do to influence that and move forward and to change our trajectory, which isn't always positive when you're on a plateau, right? Or
Right.
when you're dealing with whatever it happens to be, you lost your girlfriend or your boyfriend, or right. It's not always positive right then, but we face it, we deal with it. That way, when we come with other challenges in life, we can again deal with that from a realistic standpoint, and then take steps forward to change. And I think all of us and everybody that you meet that's really been successful at what they do have had to look at the reality of things aren't going well right now. How do I make this better? So my dad used to tell me, do it right and do it one time.
Yep. I have to do it 10 times. Do it right the first time. And if it takes you a little bit longer to do it, it takes you a little bit longer to do it, but you've done it right. How are you going to ever get better by doing things incorrectly? So sometimes, especially like at the beginning of a season, we may not get past warm up, because if we can't hold a streamline off a wall, if we can't kick off a turn, if we're breathing the first stroke off the turn, if we're doing all the little things incorrectly, how are we ever expect to get to that next level?
Can you transition that just for a moment? Because that's a great thing. Can you transition that for that person now, no longer swimming for you, now being at work?
I think it's the same thing. What if you're turning in things, and with typos all the way through, and you're not doing your math correctly, then they're going to get handed back to you. Do it over again, and then maybe after a point in time, you're not going to have that job anymore. So
and being a CFO, that could really impact things, right?
Yeah, you think?
Wow. Where did you get all this background like this? I mean, was it your dad, your mom? How did you get this?
I think it's from my father. My father raised my 3 brothers and myself. So it was, we all kind of had our roles in life and getting through day to day. So I really attribute that to my dad and one of my older brothers, Craig.
So parents have a massive impact, and so do coaches, on your life later.
Huge.
Especially at these impressionable ages, where you're starting, you're dating, sometimes you're doing, right? All these things are going on in their lives. And there's a baseline that you pour, that your dad poured for you, right? Mm-hmm. And it makes all the difference later on. We all see what you built when you're young. And if you don't build it, you can't use it.
Need that foundation. You have to have the strong foundation. And it's, and that's like the perfect, you look at our sport, without the foundation, you can't build anything on it, because it's just going to keep crumbling.
And I think that it seems like we need heroes more and more in our country and around the world, not just our country. People that are really heroes, not one you just say, oh, that's a hero, but somebody that's done something that's really amazing to look up to see, what can I achieve next? And I think that we have a lot of heroes in our sport, and people become heroes because their background, like yourself, that are putting out systematically incredible people through the use and right of these tools in swimming that we have, right? Through the hard training that you get, and don't give up attitude, right? And we can do it. I think those are, I think one of the best sayings, so to speak, that's out there is when you're a little kid and you listen to the little train that thought he could. I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. What does that do to you if you take that seriously and you keep driving it? And that's, I think, Cindy, when you see people in there and they're on a plateau or something like that, right, is number one is keep working, and B, number two, find a way to influence that trajectory, right? Go over and talk to Cindy. I noticed, I remember this, is you always had time to help the swimmers. Your time, for some reason, not everybody else's, but your time seems to be endless in regards to the fact that you can help people, right? And it doesn't need to be the fastest swimmer on the team, that it's whoever needs help, that's who you were helping. And that's such a great thing, because the only way people get great is to get that nurturing benefit. And whether they're great swimmers or not really makes zero difference in life. It's you're putting out incredible people into the community, that right, and they're learning inside what you're doing, and then they get out and go. I think any parent that send their child to you would be getting such a big return, they'd have no idea. And what did you get from coaching? Because I think Tim Lewarchick is a phenomenal coach. I hired him and realized, I mean, it was just he's a bright star right away. What did you learn that you take away from him? I know it's a lot, but what are some of the things that you learned that you think were really helpful?
Tim was probably one of the biggest influencers for me in coaching, because I had already, found that joy in the teaching aspect of it. He really brought out the challenge part of it, as not being afraid to challenge kids. It's okay to expect more from them. It's okay to do things over. It's okay to, give them something that maybe they're going to fail at. It's okay. And he was so good with that, and so good with challenging the kids and challenging us as coaches. I just love that part of it. I love talking with Tim, and I'm so great and so grateful that we're on this committee together.
Oh, I know. And you're on our FM product review board, and yeah, just such fine people on that all together. Everybody, I just love them. And I say the thing that I like, and there's a lot of things that I like about Tim, but the thing that I really got from Tim, and we both won the the coaches award for the year in when we were coaching, but I know who won the women's one for sure, and it wasn't me. And he was just so good with, the men and the women, but just, boy, he could really figure things out that I had no idea. How do you say this? This is the way you put it, John. And his upbringing, he had so many kids in his family, and he's just such a good man.
Very, very good man.
And I've been so glad to call him a friend since I met him, and you as well. So, you were able to use some of the fluid mechanics tools, the FM Fast Track tools. What tool did you find to be kind of useful, do you think, from a coaching standpoint for your team?
Well, I mean, all of them are great. I really, really, really like the technique, and just going through, because the kids are such visual learners, and even, our young coaching staff, very visual, and being able to go through that part is just, it's phenomenal.
So those are the FM animations that we have. And we also, one of the things that we do, Cindy, and I don't know if you know this, but we're going to invite you now, at least, is that anybody who's had one of these FM influencer interviews that, we feel like they can really contribute, or we don't do these with them. And then you're invited to contribute as you learn more and more things that you want to contribute to the swimming world. And so we've done over 75 of these already. And so you can imagine the contributions if you just take an iPad and you contribute. And if you get a chance, folks, to watch what Cindy is doing and the advice she has, there's no better advice that you can get. So you can put that on, you can send it in, it goes through Lisa Pizzuto, who's our content director, and she puts it up, gets it edited and puts it up. And so we'll have, at least at this point, about, if people just contribute a couple times a year, about 150 new pieces of information. So it's a living, right? You can imagine, right? And so it's going to be a world stage. Okay, so Cindy, you've seen our cornerstones of athletic performance, I believe. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen with our audience here. And just really quick, we'll go through this. Many of the folks, if you watched before, you might have seen this before. And so the first thing that we're looking at over here is the green section is the fuels, like sleep, hydration, nutrition, and oxygen. And then down here, we have the energy systems. And that would be, for instance, your speed, explosivity, and your endurance. So that strawberry you ate yesterday, right, is traveling through one of the three energy systems, depending on what it is that you're doing. And that's being converted into energy. That energy is then delivered to the muscle. The muscle then contracts around the bones, and the bones, the movement of the skeletal system would be considered your technique. how you move that skeletal system. And then the bones get you to where you want to go. And the whole question is, do you know where you want to go and how to get there? And that would be considered the mind. In the center, you have synergy on how you put that all together. One form of synergy would be racing, right? Where you pull it all together. Another one would be converting your swimming career, your high school swimming career, for instance, possibly into a college swimming career or into swimming for your national team, depending on the country you're in. So Cindy, a couple questions. Number one is, what's one of the most significant aspects that you see when you're training athletes?
Well, they're all, I mean, they're called cornerstones for a reason, right? Because, really, you can't have the well-rounded athlete without all parts of these. I mean, if you have a kid that didn't eat anything and not getting enough sleep, it's going to affect everything that they're doing. So, I mean, you have somebody that's getting enough sleep, they're eating enough, they're doing all that, but their mind's not in the game. They're, off in left center field or just battling in between their own ears, then we're not going to get the final result that we want. I think it's all parts equal to get that complete puzzle.
We actually say that you have to swim in a star to be one. And we know that's hokey, but
yeah, but it's so true.
Right. Very interesting. So how do you approach, from when you look at it as all these things, how do you approach training athletes when you're looking at the whole star as everything's important? What do you do?
Well, we do have a nutritionist that will come in and talk with the kids and work with the kids. We have a sports psychologist that has helped the kids along the way, and then we do our part with the technique and the training, and it's everybody working together. So when we have the nutritionist come in, of course, we have the parents there as well, because it's not just the athlete, it's the entire family that's affected by making sure that we're eating enough and doing what we need to do. So we ask for help.
That's really smart. And so as a head coach, and almost like the CEO of the team in a way, right?
Yeah, kind of.
You recognize that you're not supposed to do everything. In fact, if you are doing everything, it's hard to do anything well.
Right.
So you have, right, different, like for instance, I have a bookkeeper, because, right, I need to know enough about bookkeeping to talk to my accountant, for instance, but I don't need to be a bookkeeper or an accountant. And if I did, I wouldn't be as good in marketing, or I wouldn't be as good at, developing products and things like that. So that's a really smart way. And I think a lot of coaches feel like they need to be everything to everyone. And I think that's sometimes so heavy and weighs so much on them, especially year after year. It's almost debilitating that, in fact, the bigger you grow, the more burden there is. In your way, the bigger you grow, the more help you get, and you're able to manage it that way.
You got to surround yourself with good people, a great coaching staff. And, in some of the areas where we're not the experts, we reach out and ask for help.
Let me ask you about that, because it sounds like you have a great coaching staff. How do you go about recruiting coaches, things like this?
For some of our age group coaches, it's kind of nice because a lot of our past swimmers will be going to school possibly at the University of Akron or Kent State, and we can recruit them to help with our age group kids. And they know the program already, and they know the expectations, they know the terminology. So it's really a very smooth transition. I've been very, very fortunate to have the staff that we have with Carl Schallenberger and Aaron Crabtree. They're not college kids, they're adults, they're in it for the right reason, and they're all in. And we have the collaboration with the University of Akron. So Brian Parisi, the women's coach at the University of Akron, actually coaches with us during the spring and summer. So what a win-win situation all around.
Yeah. And you stay connected with and everybody can understand. That's great. One of the pieces that we're just right now building and developing in the FM Fast Track, there's going to be a new section coming out called the FM Team Learning Center, where you'll be able to have libraries of information, and you'll be able to put them in levels so that the kids will have a learning system in there, and so would your coaches. And so one of the coaches could be assistant coach, right? Or one of the levels could be assistant coach, and you could have them all electronically. So everything that you want them to teach them electronically. And also, Cindy, you're actually able to put in your own shows. So
Wow, that's
that way,
phenomenal.
yeah, and then you score them, yeah, right. And
Yeah.
then you don't have to do. It'll be there. Here's what level 1 you do this, or whatever you call that level. Level 2, if you're a freshman in high school, you learn these things. And you also have the college pipeline in there to guide your swimmers forward. So so that way you don't have to keep track of the rules in Division 1, Division 2, Division 3 for
It's
every
all right
swimmer.
there. Oh, yeah,
I know you
that's
got a
nice.
lot of kids going on to college
Yeah.
there in swimming. So yeah, it's all right there. Wow. So thank you so much. We just had this amazing conversation, and we really appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. I really, really appreciate it. So grateful. Thank you.
Okay. Tori, back to you. We'll close the show.
All right. Well, that is everything that we have for everybody today. Cindy, is there any last piece of wisdom, advice, knowledge that you'd like to share with everybody as we close out?
I think the biggest thing is just stay the course. Whatever ultimate goal that you have at the end, if you stay the course and you truly believe in what you're doing, then whatever goals you have set, you're going to have them.
Fantastic. Thank you again, Cindy.
Thank you.
Great seeing
Have a
you.
great one.
Thank you.